And if someone needs translation, Marta is here, so I'm not sure where...
But so far we're doing fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Excellent. Everyone can see me. I don't need to stand on the like Martin. There are two significant events tonight. One is the Tech Talk at Menorca. The other is the finals of the Eurovision song competition in Helsinki, Finland, from where I come to greet you. So very good to be here. It's a real joy.
1 point.
Yeah, exactly. And a year ago, a couple of guys dressed up as monsters went on stage and won the Eurovision Song Competition against all odds and no one believing that they could do so. This is called Lordi. You may have heard of them, laughed at them, whatever. But Finland has a long past of crazy initiatives that had won out. Lordi is one, Linux is another. A guy putting a kernel of an operating system out there that spreads. IRC is yet another invention. But I will just speak briefly mainly about Blyk, the company we're building, the free mobile operator for young people, and let you ask some questions. And if there are some people have approached me and have been interested in Doppler, which is a very different thing, a travel online service, I can speak briefly about that. But I go right in, so we have time for questions. Blyk, we're building a pan-European free mobile operator for 16 to 24-year-olds, funded by different forms of commercial messaging, advertising, if you like. And what's perhaps most important in this venture is that it's a mobile operator with the ethos of a media company. So it's really a media company. We make our money on advertising. We've recently announced we're launching in the UK in the middle of this year, and we're on track to launch middle of this year. Our host network operator, because we're a mobile virtual network operator, that means we buy the minutes and text wholesale. Orange is our partner in the UK, and we've also announced our first advertisers that include L'Oreal, Buena Vista Pictures, and Coca-Cola. So big brands, but there will also be other kinds of brands, more local brands, more maybe relevant to some parts of the 16 to 24-year-old audience. But before I open it up for questions, because I know there will be many about how it exactly works and so on, just I'd like to point out a few myths, okay, that we don't believe in mobility. The first myth, number one, is content is king. For the 16 to 24-year-old audience, the majority of mobile phone use doesn't involve use of so-called content. The majority of it is calling, texting, and looking at the clock. How many of you woke up to your alarm clock this morning on the phone? Many. So this is real usage. I'm not saying that this usage won't change, but if you're building a media company, you need to look at usage the way it is. About 3/4 of this group, 16 to 24 years old, is not primarily interested in using their mobile phone to access the internet. The reasons for that are many. I'm not just saying that they wouldn't be interested. A big part of that is pricing. In many markets, people have it's completely untransparent. They don't know how much it costs to click a link. So we need to do a lot of education in that area as well. The second myth is that push is bad, that push advertising is bad. About 70% of people surveyed, both independently and by us, in this age group say that they're willing to receive relevant content messages and relevant advertising or commercial communication pushed to them. So the key is really asking and getting information about what people are into, and the more, if you like, Blyk learns about you as it goes along, the better it gets over time. So that's myth number 2. The third myth is text is history. How many times have you heard the saying that SMS will decline in the next years completely and it'll be surpassed by picture messaging, MMS, or instant messaging? I've heard it many times over the last 5 years, and it has not happened. And for some reason, there are many reasons. It's not only usage, it's business model lock-in, it's the fact that instant messaging is a sea of islands that don't connect to each other, and business model reasons. But text will be increasingly important. So we believe, in terms of the formats, in very simple text interactions with people, picture interactions with people, that are building on fundamental, basic human behaviors already today. If you receive a text message from a trusted source, whether a friend or some company you may have given permission to, it's okay to answer that message. So many of the interactions will be very simple based on existing behavior. And by this I mean they can be text. In some ways, we believe that mobile advertising or mobile commercial communications will be a revival of copywriting and dialogue that way. It won't be primarily 3D video with scratch and sniff cards. So we think it's better to be rich in context and relevance and not so rich in pixels, if you like, at the beginning. The platform will develop to that for sure, but not at first. We can't start with that. So with these three myths, I hope very quickly debunked and thrown away, I'd like to open it up to you for any questions regarding Blyk and where we're going from here.
Talk about Doppler.
Does anybody...
I have a question on Blyk, which is why only 16 to 24-year-olds? I mean, most people here... Who qualifies here from the 16 to 24? Who's under 24? No, look at all these people who would like to make free phone calls, and they don't care about the advertising, I'm sure, because everybody hates to pay for that phone, Movistar and all those guys. But they are older than 24. Why can't they make the phone call for free?
It's a very good question, and there are two reasons for Blyk. Okay, the one is you start with a group that are particularly hard to reach with mainstream advertising at the moment, and 16 to 24-year-olds are that. So we're starting with a group that's particularly challenging for brands that are trying to reach them to reach through traditional means, and then we set up a media company that's in the form of a mobile operator saying, here you can find them. So it's very important for us to have what's called high composition, that really the target audience is that. And the second reason, which is a little bit more business system and business model oriented, is very few operators would be willing to discuss a general MVNO deal across the board for free. Because they know that the 16 to 24-year-old audience is also challenging for operators to service profitably. So we've gone for that, and it wins both for advertisers, and we need the agreements with host network operators to have a license to operate.
Okay.
Do you buy it?
Yeah, no, I'm ready to